Broncos 2024 schedule. Let's go, and let's go on the DNVR Broncos Podcast. Little special primetime show with Henry Chisholm rocking his Avs jersey as they start right now. You hear behind the camera, and yours truly, Zach Stevens, rocking and rolling with you today. The leaks were true, Henry.
You don't say. We all knew all day. But they got to put out a video now, so we can
your
talk
favorite
about
video
it.
Too.
I always have beef with these sorts of things. Today there are two beefs. One is a personal thing. I just don't like watching other people eat. Like I don't watch cooking shows, those sorts of things. Like it just
interesting.
Especially like it's one thing when you're like at dinner or something together, but like I don't like staring at somebody as they're just a lot of weird sounds. I don't need it.
Wow.
The more important beef that's relevant to more people. The schedule wasn't in order. It was kind of just like, here are the games. And then until you get to the end and then give the order. But it's like, I would have just skipped to the end.
Well, let's give it to our audience in a very crisp, orderly fashion.
Thank you.
From this beautiful graphic that you hear made. Let's pull it up on the screen you hear so everyone can see the glory. And let's just go through these games. Let's read them, and then we're going to circle back and dive into a lot more depth and get our biggest takes. But for everyone listening, because if you're watching, you can see it. But just for the people listening, want everyone to be able to know what the schedule is. Week 1, the Broncos are going into Seattle. This is the Russell Wilson-less Bowl to start the season. For the first time since 2011, Russell Wilson will not be on one of these teams. That's how you can advertise this game. And it's not on primetime, so that's kind of how you can advertise it.
What was going on in 2011? I mean, Tebow.
Oh, in the Broncos world, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah. I wonder if the Seahawks were. Was that Matt Hasselbeck still?
It was, it might have been, yeah.
I think so.
I mean, right before they signed Matt
that was the
Flynn.
same year.
He was the same year as Russ.
Wow.
Week 2.
Ooh, wait, what's more interesting? Matt Hasselbeck versus Tim Tebow or Geno Smith versus Bo Nix?
Okay, real quick, can you guys guess?
Tebow.
Yeah, I think so too.
One guess real quick, each one?
Hasselbeck. No idea.
Oh, yeah, it's Hasselbeck. My guess is Hasselbeck.
It's Tavares Jackson.
So that makes it more interesting. Tavares Jackson versus Tebow or Bo Nix versus Geno Smith.
Yeah, give me Tebow. Anything with
I think
Tebow.
it's
Tebow. Thrilled to see Bo Nix.
Yes,
he starts
absolutely.
on the road. Week 2, though, is when we get the game that we all wanted week 1. The NFL was so close to making it right. We get the Pittsburgh Steelers and, more importantly, Russell Wilson coming into Denver to play the Broncos. This is the Russell Wilson, Sean Payton Bowl right here. So
yes, it is.
First 2 weeks, all about Russ, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. The first week is like about Russ in that it's not about Russ at all.
Right, exactly. Yeah. For the first time since 2011.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It'd be like if we could make this podcast a podcast about how Todd is not here.
Right. And then the next podcast, he's here.
Yeah.
Is that a little foreshadowing? Is Todd going to be on the pod tomorrow?
Tomorrow's podcast at 9 a.m. we should say.
At 9 a.m.
2 hours early.
We're going to announce on this show.
Oh, we are?
Before it goes anywhere else. We're going to announce at the end of this show who our special guest is and why we're going at 9 a.m. So make sure to stay tuned to the end.
It's always a fun one to decide, like, should we have people guess who it is?
Right.
Because sometimes you say, like, don't guess who it is because then you're going to be disappointed.
Right.
But then you could also say, guess who it is, and it's like...
guess who it is.
It's exciting.
It's a special guest.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be an awesome guest. So,
I think so. Very exciting man or woman.
Drop it in the Toyota chat who you think it's going to be. All right, then week 3, Broncos still on the road, I believe. Yes, they are on the road for this one, so I think we need that updated on the graphic. We've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. That's a hot one.
That is a hot one.
Literally.
I don't
like their
have much
defense is going to be hot, and it's also going to be like 100 degrees.
It's true.
Yeah.
That is true. I don't have much to add in terms of like on topic here, but what if all the Broncos announced Lewis Hamilton's schedule this year?
Well, that would be good.
That would be kind of
especially
fun.
when he's changing teams. So there's a lot of drama there, kind of like there's some drama with Sean Payton.
Oh, I didn't even
because
realize.
this next game,
I didn't even realize that he had an accent.
Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, until the video was playing, I was like, wait, I guess it makes sense.
We did have someone ask, who was that in the video? That's the Broncos owner, Lewis Hamilton.
Yes,
Part owner. Lewis Hamilton, who's also like the best driver of all time, I believe.
And probably the coolest of the owners. Not to like start any fights.
No,
but
just straight up the coolest of any owner in any sport of any team.
A-Rod
Let's
isn't
just
cool.
Say that. Right, exactly. No.
Tom Brady isn't cool. He's also not an owner
He's
yet.
not an owner, no.
They haven't taken the vote.
Any of the Raiders.
Oh, Magic Johnson, not cool.
No.
No.
Giannis is an owner of an MLS team.
Okay,
But-
but
yeah.
speaking of Sean Payton, though, we've got some more drama in Week 4 with Sean when he goes into New York. You know what they call that? They call that
Football.
Nathaniel Hackett's house.
Oh,
the house
they
of
do.
Nathaniel Hackett, where Sean is 0-1. Can he even it up against? Is Aaron Rodgers going to be there?
I don't believe that he. I hope so. He's no good anymore.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So Broncos go in to New York. So 3 of the first 4 games on the road, and then the Broncos get a little home stretch, and not just a home stretch, but they get to play the first AFC West game, Week 5, coming home for the second time in the season, beginning of October. They have the Las Vegas Raiders again, and their quarterback will be.
Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, probably. I think so.
Unless there's an injury.
Broncos, man, they can break the streak to the Raiders in Week 5.
Will they?
And then it won't be Sean's hump anymore.
It would not be his hump anymore. It wouldn't be the hump. There's no hump.
There would be no hump. But if they don't beat him, then it's going to be Sean's hump.
Yeah,
Bigger hump.
no,
And
that
then
would be
week
3. That's a hump.
Yeah, exactly. And then Week 6, we get another division game at home. The Los Angeles Chargers come in here. Shout out to the Chargers, as our guy RK said. Let the Chargers have today, because this is the only day where they win. Their social media does win, but that's about the only time they win.
They also this afternoon put together a thread that was like every one of our opponents as Pop-Tarts.
I thought they did that in the past.
Probably. It's fucking dumb. They probably do it all the time. I don't like, I get that this is their day. Do your video. You don't need to throw in a Pop-Tart thread in the afternoon.
Wow. So you're not even letting them win today? Okay.
I mean,
that's
if I'm
fine.
not going to love the
That's
Broncos video, I might as well just get all my thoughts out on those Chargers.
Week 7 is Sean Payton. Everything's about Sean Payton, huh? Funny enough. Sean Payton's
Sure is.
return to New Orleans, the first primetime game for the Denver Broncos on Thursday night.
And what day is that? That's on October 176th. Is that what I'm seeing
Wow,
there?
you're being brutal to you here right now.
It's funny though. It's
Wow, you can mute him
October
if you want to here.
176th.
It's just a little bit beyond.
way beyond.
No, Halloween.
Or maybe
They're gonna
he's
have
saying,
rookies
maybe
by
he's
then.
saying it starts at 6 p.m., which is actually true.
Oh,
so
maybe
he
that
was
is
actually
what he's
onto
saying.
something.
Also, the numbers aren't orange on that one, but it is what it is.
Wow.
DNVR update for New Orleans, or is that like a sneaky thing?
Yes, I think we are changing our New Orleans trip.
Yeah, we've been lying.
With the because for the reason we want to make sure that everyone gets like a full weekend
Yes.
there, and so I think we're gonna change that one. Stay tuned. We already have one in our sights, and it's a really fun one. It's actually, Henry, one that you kind of previewed
Kinda
earlier
crazy.
today.
I did this.
And you even know it, and you said this would be the game to travel to.
It'd be
And
awesome.
You were right about it. So stay tuned to that. Then the Broncos come home to play the Carolina Panthers. This is Ejiro Evero and Josie Jewell's return.
Which one's the storyline?
Sean Payton.
It's
We're
still
just going Sean.
it's
Yeah,
still
because Sean didn't allow Coach E to stay.
Sneaky thing, like he's mentioned before, it's weird changing conferences. He's always been the NFC.
Yeah.
And so you know all those teams over there and you don't know the
true.
AFC teams. He gets to play the NFC South, not just the NFC. But
that's a really good point.
I mean, a lot of things change in a couple of years, but there's plenty of Panthers little bits of knowledge he has.
I like that. And well, Saints and Panthers back to back. Two
Definitely some
teams
Saints
that he really
knowledge.
knows. Yeah, I would hope so. And then, oh boy, tough stretch right here. You've got the 2 road games, maybe the 2 hardest games on your schedule, and then you put them on the road back to back to start November. You've got the Baltimore Ravens on the road. Derrick Henry, of course, with MVP, 2-time MVP Lamar Jackson. Then you play the team that the Ravens couldn't beat in the playoffs last year, the Kansas City Chiefs. You get that one out of the way early November in Kansas City. That's the first time the Broncos played the Chiefs since the Broncos beat the Chiefs last year. So crazy enough, but a little revenge game for the Chiefs. See if the Broncos can ride that win streak to 2 games. Then you come home to play the Atlanta Falcons and Kirk Cousins or Michael Penix Jr.
Wow. It's got to be Kirk. It's got to be Kirk.
It has to be. It's got to be. And then in week 12, you play the Raiders for the second time. So last year, remember, the Broncos bookended their season with the Raiders. Started with them week 1, ended with them in week 18. The Broncos are going to be done with the Raiders by week 12 in this year by going to Las Vegas. What is this? This is Thanksgiving week, I think.
2 days after Thanksgiving,
Yeah,
probably?
2 days after Thanksgiving. So if you want to do a little family trip out to Las Vegas for Thanksgiving, they're kind of setting it up for you right there.
Wow. What would Thanksgiving in Vegas look like? That'd be strange. The club, the stripper, a lot of stuffing. There's the answer. A lot of stuffing.
And then...
I bet somebody does do like a crazy Thanksgiving. Yeah, he got the joke. He got the joke. But like, there's got to be a crazy Thanksgiving buffet. I would imagine.
Oh, at a place for
Like
sure.
somebody
There's an
does
all you
something
can
ridiculous.
eat from like midnight till midnight the next day. Of course.
That would be incredible.
It would be, and it'll really make you brown, because then the Broncos turn around and it'll make it, if you're stuffing yourself, you're gonna have to go to the bathroom. So
it won't make me brown. It will just
make toilets brown.
Because I'm not gonna.
Which then is week 13. The Broncos play the Browns. That's where I was going on Monday Night Football. That's the second primetime game for the Broncos. This one is at home, and that leads in to the Broncos bye week.
Yeah. No,
so
that
a short bye week for the Broncos. A lot of people are talking about how this is late bye week for the Broncos. It's also a short bye week for the Broncos.
You got that Falcons, Raiders, Browns stretch right there before the bye. Gotta get 2 of the 3.
Okay. So let's continue and let's just end out this schedule and then get back to some of these clips. But I totally agree with you there. Then coming off the bye, you play the Colts at home, middle of December. Anthony Richardson, maybe. That could be an interesting game. Is that Joe Flacco? Is that where he is now?
That is Joe Flacco.
I think he is, yeah. So if Anthony Richardson isn't healthy, that'll be the Joe Flacco revenge game too.
Don't they play them in the preseason?
They do play them
That's
in the preseason.
Strange.
It is strange. You're absolutely right. Broncos' first preseason game is against the Colts. Then to round out the season, you get 2 away games where you're going to Los Angeles. So I actually shouldn't say away game. You just have to travel to a home game. Go to Los Angeles to play the Chargers. That is your second to last divisional game. Then you go into Cincinnati. This is one that you wanted, Henry, into Cincinnati at the end of December to play the Bengals, and then you close out the season at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. An interesting note about those last 2 games, those are flex games, could either be Saturday or Sunday, just depending on where things stand with those teams there. So that is the 2024 Broncos schedule. And Henry, let's kind of get in to what this schedule looks like. I want to get your initial thoughts because we just got Todd's initial reaction.
Oh, we did.
I'll tell you, he's maybe not the biggest fan of it, but I got to give a shout out to our friends over at Toyota, where Toyota, they just know how to make cars, make the best cars. They know how to make trucks. They know how to make SUVs. They know how to make sports cars. They know how to make it all over at Toyota. So if you want to get a Toyota, make sure to check out all the stores they have, whether you want a truck. They've been doing trucks for generations. They've got the Tacoma. They've got the Land Cruiser. They have 17 models with all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, like that 4Runner, which is my favorite. There's 16 different hybrid vehicles to choose from, like the Tundra iForce Max truck, and of course, the SUVs, whether you want the RAV4 or the Grand Highlander. That one is a nice car. You got to check out one of their Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota, the official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR.
And also shout out to Game Time where you can get shopping.
Actually, not shout out to Game Time. I mean, shout out to Game Time. Of course. Oh my goodness, I read the wrong one. That was on me. That's on me.
I wasn't prepared to celebrate like that. I don't know what to do because I'm always wrong. Loser. Okay. The cheapest ticket this year.
Actually, no, I was right.
No way.
But you're right about Game Time.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to Game. This is a big deal for Game Time. This is the schedule release.
Cheapest tickets for the Broncos this season. What game do you think it is?
You hear? Can you? I was gonna say just immediately off the top of my head, Carolina, but that game's at home. Home tickets, I don't believe are going to be cheapest. Can you pull up the schedule for me really quickly here? So it's going to be a road game on Game Time. Man, if this was in Carolina, remember how much tickets were going for at Game Time last year?
Yeah,
$4. Insane. So I'm going to go, who has a poor crowd? Ah, man. Browns is it's a Monday night. I might actually have to go home game. I might have to go that Week 8 game.
It's actually 3-way tie: Panthers, Browns, and Colts.
Panthers,
which means
Browns, okay.
Some Broncos season ticket holder just listed the same price for all those. But yeah,
no, two of those are
Power.
home games. Yep.
Yeah.
How much?
$91.
Okay.
Not bad.
Interesting. You know what they say about Game Time? Wait till closer to game time. The prices will go down.
That's what they say about Game Time. And also, you know what else they say about Game Time?
Use code DNVR.
For $20 off. Yep,
baby.
that's what they say. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code. It says specifically, spell out DNVR. It's okay, I know where I work. For $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
So Todd,
Imagine if I just said Denver. Spell it out.
Todd has actually unsent the message that he sent to Henry and I. So maybe he doesn't want that message out there. I'm not going to put him on blast, because clearly he unsent that for a reason. We're going to get his opinion on it tomorrow. So that's another reason why you want to stay tuned to the DNVR Broncos podcast, coming to you live at 9 a.m. tomorrow. We're doing 3 shows within a 23-hour span from start to finish. 23 hours. 3 different shows to round out the week for you guys. And speaking of you guys, we absolutely love you tuning in the Toyota chat. Hit us with a thumbs up if you're tuning in live. Show us if you like this kind of prime time, later edition show. If we get to 1,000 likes on this show, Henry will do a prime time show until the season starts. So let's get there every single day, like 7 days a week, all the way until the season starts.
He's doing that by himself. So I'm not here with him.
That's what I'm saying. He's doing it by himself. Yeah. So hit us with the thumbs up so we can get Henry locked in this room for another 100 days-ish?
Somebody's angry about wearing Rockies hat now. Avs are in a playoff game. Yep. Rockies have won 7 in a row.
Rockies, how about this? Here's the stat. Rockies among the 3 major sports leagues that are playing right now.
Wait.
So take the NFL away.
Playing right now. Okay.
Take the NFL away.
I thought that was a fun game to figure out which
MLB, one. NHL, and NBA. The Rockies are the hottest team in all 3 of those. How about that?
How about
7-game win streak,
Mr. Kravitz?
So go and get your tickets over at Game Time.
Yeah.
Edward loves the primetime shows. Let's see if you can get to 1,000 likes to make Henry do this every single
331
day.
people watching, so you're gonna have some work to do.
Yeah, we are. So share this. We've tweeted it out. Share it so more people can join us here. Okay, so Henry, we went through the schedule, gave people kind of a very, very initial reactions, but overall, when you see the schedule, what's the thing that jumps out to you? What's your biggest takeaway?
I mean, biggest takeaway has to be you start against Seattle. I mean, week 1 game is kind of the big one. And it's also the one that we've known the longest since yesterday. But that was only if you trusted the leaks, which you almost always should. I think beyond that 4-game stretch at the end of the year is a lot of fun. Colts, Chargers, Bengals, Chiefs. You're probably, I think, getting 3 playoff teams out of there.
Yeah, so I think
unless the Broncos make it, and then it's probably 2.
So I think you're effed up saying that that's a fun stretch, because I view it exactly the way you view it in terms of, holy shit, that's hard. I don't like ending the season like that.
I mean, I guess what do you want? So what? You probably need 10 wins to make the playoffs. So I would say, being realistic with the Broncos and their situation, if you get to that bye week knowing that you need 3 wins to make the playoffs, you're probably in pretty decent shape. You got to go 3-1 down that stretch. Tough to do, but it's going to be a tough year. So 3-1 would mean you need 7 wins before then, which would mean that you're 7-6. So you need to be 7-6 going into that bye. But I mean, that closing stretch, hopefully it matters. We're about 50-50 over the past like half decade in terms of the final stretch mattering. It's a challenging stretch, but like that's kind of what's going to happen in December in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Henry, that is something that pops off of the schedule right away, is just how difficult that final stretch is. Look, the Colts were, one drive away from making the playoffs last year with their backup quarterback.
Yeah.
If Anthony Richardson turns out to be the number 5 overall
he
pick,
looked awesome.
But yeah, like he did, then the Colts will be legit. The Chargers, Harbaugh wins. And Harbaugh and Herbert could be a dangerous combination, so that could be a good team. And then obviously, I do believe that the Bengals and Joe Burrow, I think that's a nightmare game for any team, not just for the Broncos, but any team going into Cincinnati, cold weather at the end of December is awful. Yep. Can we mute Hank here? He's not paying attention.
I'm paying so much attention.
And then Kansas City. Here's the one thing about this Kansas City game. You play the Chiefs Week 18. I love this because if the Chiefs have their playoff spot locked up, you're going to get who's their backup quarterback?
Not Patrick Mahomes. That's all that matters.
It's not Alex Smith. Yeah. That's my point, though.
Yeah.
Is you will get the Chiefs backups. They will maybe try to win, but they're going to be trying to win with their backups. This game couldn't have been more perfect for the Broncos. You have to play the Chiefs twice, so might as well have one of them be a Week 18 where they might not be playing for anything. So that's kind of the sliver of hope in this really tough 4-game stretch. But Henry, you said you start by looking at the beginning of the season. I want to expand it to like first 4 games of the season, because what did we talk about earlier today? We talked about Bo Nix.
Yes,
and
we do that a lot.
If Bo Nix is starting Week 1 here, I don't like this start at all for Bo Nix. I actually hate it because the Seahawks are about as like 500 team as you can have, I think, but they just got a defensive coach, a really good coach. Their head coach is the former defensive coordinator of the Ravens, who's really, really good. And so that scares me playing in Seattle with a defense that's going to be better than it was last year because they now have this defensive coach. So
couldn't be worse.
That's a fair point, but I don't really like that right there in terms of a Bo Nix perspective. Then Week 2, you're playing TJ Watt. I totally agree with what our guy Baldy told us earlier. Like, TJ Watt might be the best defensive player in the NFL. You don't want to play him early in the season when Bo Nix is trying to learn things. That's in Week 2. Week 3, Tampa's got a good defense. That's like the reason they won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and that's what's made them relevant right now. And you play them on the road. I'm not worried about Tampa on the road, but just it's not at home, makes it a little more difficult against good defense. And then the Jets, Week 4 on the road, they've got some dudes on the defensive side of the ball. So in terms of a Bo Nix perspective, this is a really tough start. 3 of the first 4 games on the road and against some good defenses / some like all-star defensive players.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. It's a tough stretch. I just don't see a lot of ways it could have gone much better. You look at the Panthers. That'd be a great way to start, is you just get to play the Panthers. You look at the Raiders.
Right.
That's probably the next worst team. You've also lost, 7 in a row? 8 now?
Yep.
Oh, God. That's terrible. Yeah, but you've lost 8 in a row, so is it really that nice? The Saints are good. Like, they aren't, crazy good. I wonder, I just pulled up the defensive ranks. Yeah, they were 6th in scoring defense last year. Gave up less than 20 a game.
It's good to wait till Week 7 then.
The Falcons now are, they're good. They're a better than 500
team. So there's
team.
just good teams everywhere.
Yeah, I just don't see a whole lot that I would have liked. And so, honestly, the Seahawks, I think outside of the Raiders and the Panthers, of course, the Seahawks might have the worst defense of the bunch, especially given Week 1 with a whole new system and all that.
Okay, I like that. I like that viewpoint there, Henry. Just what scares me is playing in Seattle.
Yep.
But let's take an optimistic approach here. And as Behad Moon in the Toyota chat says, But if he starts 3-0 or 4-0, Bo's an instant legend, and there's no doubt about that.
I have a feeling if he goes 1-0, people are gonna be
especially
or
coming
0-1.
home.
There's gonna be a big story there too.
Right, especially coming home against 2 division opponents. Man, will the hype train just absolutely be off the tracks in the best way possible.
Ooh, also, Tim saying he'd cream his pants if they go 11-6.
Wasn't sure if you were going to read that one or not.
No, I think
Okay.
it brings up like a good question. So like that's kind of our best bid. 11-6, you cream your pants. What about 10? Is anybody out there saying like at 10 that's enough?
Yeah,
10
probably
makes,
everyone.
I think 10 might be the number. To
Wow, I'm
just throwing
sorry
it out
for
there.
all the families
I'm
that
just
are
throwing
tuning
it
in right
Would have
now.
said it in the chat if I wasn't banned.
You're not, though. I never banned you.
Oh, Zach did.
Yeah, he would never ban you.
Zach said he does it twice a week.
We don't ban you ever here, Henry.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to look at some more stretches in this. Oh, yes.
Isn't it kind of weird that the last time the Broncos drafted a first-round QB, they also went to Tampa Bay, and that's the one that got rained out with with Paxton Lynch?
I remember that.
Also,
Yeah.
I just got an ESPN notification, which means somebody scored in the Avs game.
Uh-oh, we couldn't hear it from the bar.
It is. It's Dallas.
Yep. That's why we couldn't hear it from the bar. Just 2 floors below us. Okay, so let's pull the schedule up again here, please. So we talked about the first part of the schedule. We talked about the last part of the schedule. What's the easiest part of the schedule? You can take it in like it has to be multiple games.
Raiders, Chargers, Saints, Panthers. And I mean, it's
exactly what I pinpointed as well.
Again, like they've lost 7 in a row to the Raiders, and the Chargers might be good now. I don't buy it, but they might be good now. But yeah, I mean, it's either that or it's Falcons, Raiders, Browns before the bye. But I think a lot of that, I mean, they're just any one of those. Like, if the Browns aren't good this year, nobody's going to be shocked. If that defense is good enough that they can just go score 19 points a game and win, nobody's going to be shocked. Same thing. Falcons, wide range of outcomes. Raiders beat the Broncos, but they're terrible. So there's just a lot of variability there. So Raiders, Chargers, Saints, Panthers is probably easiest.
And then one more thing that jumps out to me, because I agree with you on that easy stretch. You took the words out of my mouth. Late bye week. Really late bye week. I believe it's the latest bye week the Broncos have had, at least in the past 20 seasons.
Wow.
And this actually might be the latest bye week that you could have in the NFL. I have not seen the other schedules, but my guess is this is the latest bye week any team can have. And a lot of people are hating it.
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
No.
And the reason is, if you're making a playoff push, especially with how those final 4 games end in the season, how difficult they are, you get a little break. You get a little reset, take some time off, get healthy again for this final playoff push, and then to actually be in the playoffs and be a little healthier because you had that extra bye week. And people might say, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're talking about the playoffs. The over-under for the Broncos is set at 5.5 wins. What are you doing talking playoffs? Well, if they aren't making the playoffs, does it really matter where the bye week is? If they're really going to win 6 games this year
Does
and just
anything
hit the
matter?
over? No. And they just hit the over, like, okay, well, it doesn't matter. They weren't going to be a playoff team if they had a week 6 bye week instead of a week 14 bye week. So I actually like this. It's, a gamble with high upside and low risk. So I don't mind it at all.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I usually, football-wise, people say whatever they want to say, and I don't know. Like, it's just one of those things that's kind of tough to measure. I'm sure some scientist has gone out there and tried to see what teams do best, early bye teams or late bye teams. To me, it's more just about how it affects me personally, and so I would have loved like it just lining up with home Montana Grizzlies game, but we'll take second round of the playoffs. They'll be there anyway. So yeah, I'm fine with it.
There you go. You're fine with it. And I got to give a shout out to our friends over at Dialed In Gummies. We're over at Dialed In Gummies, are Colorado's premier cannabis gummy, specializing in craft and small batch for the past few years strong. Over at Dialed In Gummies, not only do they make it a point to prioritize collaboration and collaborate with the most quality material suppliers in all of Colorado on a regular basis, but they use creative small batch to tether to current events in Colorado. They've made over 2,500, that's 2,500 unique batches since 2020 and have 2 tribute batch releases to put on your radar this week, both themed around the playoffs. Check out batch 1950. Shout out to Rocky, you know who we're talking about there. And ode to everyone's favorite mountain lion mascot, whose team is on a 7-game win streak. And batch no, that's not true. Whose team is on a 3-game win streak. I get those mascots confused. And batch 1942 smells like team spirit, a sentimental nod to the Avs as they position themselves in the playoffs. Go to dialedingummies.com or visit a dispensary near you to learn more about these limited releases.
And also, shout out to Circus Sportsbook. You might have seen me on my phone after we found out about that Avs goal. That's because I got plus 250 odds on the Avs to win.
Wow.
And you got a strategy, you got to stick with it, even if these are some dark moments. Circa's awesome. They don't do all the gimmicks. They have tight money line splits. It's just a whole big low hold model. That's what it says. Which means they take a smaller cut. In exchange for that, they don't give you as many like boosts and stuff because they are like an OG sports book based out of Las Vegas that is meant for like real bettors. So if you're a real bettor who doesn't necessarily need like the little bets with the little boost, Circus Sportsbook is the book for you because they give you great odds every single time. And you can download the app at circusports.com. Circus Sports bets can only be made while physically located in the state of Colorado. Must be 21 or older. All rights reserved. Circus Sports Colorado encourages you to gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER or visit problemgamblingcolorado.org.
Man, John Kravitz in the comment section is super mad at me for telling you you shouldn't have read that one comment about, creaming in your pants, Henry.
I think he also offered to buy me a hat if I read that right. So yeah, feel free. I'll send you my details, John.
And we are only about 10 times away from our goal of Henry doing a primetime show every single night. So make sure to hit the thumbs up. Let us know what the easiest game is on the Broncos schedule because, Henry, I want to put some Shady Rays on. Actually, I want you to put some Shady Rays on as we dive into Shady Rays' future is bright. And Henry, I need you to put on those orange and blue rose-colored glasses and explain to the people what the Broncos' easiest game of the schedule is.
It's the home game against the Panthers.
Why?
Because they're terrible and it's at home.
No. We have KC's fantastic voyages coming in the Toyota chat saying it's the Raiders. That's the easiest game. LOL.
You've lost 7 in a row to them. So
there you go.
I'll stick with the Panthers.
8. So why
eight.
So
Sorry,
why is it the Panthers over the Raiders then?
Because the Raiders beat them 8 times in a row and the Panthers are worse.
Wow. So that should be an automatic dub.
If you believe in that sort of thing, then yes.
I like that. Man, we've had a lot of people in the Toyota chat giving us some rosy-colored takes today, and I love that optimism. Someone said earlier, just a little bit ago, in the Toyota chat that the Broncos with Bo are making the playoffs this year. That is a bright future that you need to have your Shady Rays on. And use the code DNVR over at checkout at shadyrays.com for 35% off your Polaroid glasses. And Henry, I got to agree with you. It has to be the Panthers. Unless Bryce Young takes that sophomore step, and it's a massive step, and he jumps up and is a number 1 pick like he was, then that game's not a gimme. So you hear, if you don't mind pulling the schedule up for me again, I want to try to find the second brightest, easiest game for the Broncos here. Because, as people are saying, the Broncos have lost 8 straight to the Raiders. You hear, can you pull that schedule up for me, please?
It's on my end, not yours.
If you're, it's got to be a home game. It can't be a home game because how hard those home games are.
That Falcon one doesn't seem that hard either, in my opinion.
I don't know, man.
They have Kirk Cousins.
I think Kirk is a really good regular season quarterback.
He's a good Vikings quarterback with
Stop it. You're just trolling the Toyota chat right now.
With Justin Jefferson, he was good.
He's
drinking when I say
playing with you. I am I'm going to go week 3. I'm going to go the Tampa Bay Bucks. Broncos can get that dub there. Yeah, we're making someone drink in the toilet chat. All right, that's Shady Rays. The future is bright. Use that code DNVR to get 35% off. And Henry, any other takes about the schedule that you want to get off your chest before we dive in to our very first record prediction?
Not a lot of bad teams in the AFC. I don't think there are a lot of teams, especially on the Broncos schedule, but I just think in general, like when you're playing AFC teams, like there just aren't a lot that you circle and say like, well, sign me up for that. Like you think like the AFC South isn't great, right, but then you're like, well, the Colts are pretty good last year. They get Anthony Richardson back. Obviously the Texans, you get the who else do you get? The Jaguars. I never know how to say that. And
Jaguars.
Then there's a fourth team in that division.
I wasn't listening to you,
Texans,
so I can't
Jaguars,
help. I'm
Colts.
sorry. I'm just going to be honest.
Titans.
Okay, so the Titans are bad. There's the bad one. There's the bad one. There's the bad one.
There's the bad one. I've got one more thing that I need to point out here. Weather games. The Broncos lucked out with 3 games in terms of weather. Seattle, week 1. You made the case for it earlier. You could play there when it's cold and rainy and shitty. If there's ever going to be a time where it's not cold, rainy, and shitty in Seattle, it's going to be week 1. So in terms of weather, Broncos lucked out there.
Yep.
I think the Broncos also lucked out, kind of. Might be a little bit of a stretch, but they lucked out with weeks 9 and 10. It sucks to play the Ravens and Chiefs on the road in back-to-back weeks. That sucks. So the combo does not help there. But early November, it could be really shitty and cold and windy and blizzardy and stuff in either of those places. You could also luck out. At least it's not in the middle of December. I kind of view Kansas City in week 10 as a win, but both of those games could end up being miserable, but at least it's not in the middle of December. So I think they kind of lucked out with 3 good weather games. I think the Broncos did not luck out with 3 bad weather games. We already mentioned it. Tampa in September. That's brutal. Why couldn't that one have been in December? That probably would have been our road trip.
Yep.
The Jets in week 4. That one's going to be hot. End of September in New York. Not the worst, though. It's certainly not Tampa, but not ideal. And then the final one, which I just think is the absolute worst, is Cincinnati at the end of December. Not only going up against a team that typically plays a lot better near the end of the season than at the beginning of the season, but it's also going to be awful weather there.
Yeah, it's a pretty boy offense, though, so I like playing them. I like playing them in the cold, if I'm being honest.
But you forgot about Burrowhead?
That's true. Wait, are we still doing that? Even though
I don't think so.
He's 2-1 there, so let's name it after him. If we could name everywhere after all the places the Broncos have a winning record, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it'd probably be everywhere.
Maybe not exact, pretty close.
Or if you did it for Tom Brady, you named everywhere that he has a winning record, Denver would be the only one that gets to keep its name.
Wow.
Yeah, how about that?
Wow,
pretty dope.
That is pretty dope.
Yep. I don't know if Tom Brady is going to be calling any Broncos games this year. Don't know if anyone cares. Probably Broncos fans want Tom Brady to stay away from their games. And also, one more note on the schedule, just to keep your eye on. Henry, that week 3 and 4, where they play Tampa in week 3, and then the Jets in week 4 in New York. Wouldn't be surprised if Sean Payton wants to keep his team on the East Coast and do kind of a road trip with the team, not actually drive from one place to place. Yeah, that would be miserable.
Remember when PJ did that because of the injury? Drove to Detroit?
Yeah, that was awesome.
He made it sound awful.
Well, yeah, but he was in his own
RV.
Personal RV.
Yeah.
They would just be in well, they're not doing this. We don't have to talk about that. But
True.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Broncos
find
a place to stay on the East Coast and stay on the East Coast that entire week. Maybe especially it's good at the beginning of a season, little team bonding exercise. Some players may hate it. Some players may love it. But keep your eye on that. Wouldn't be surprised if that happens. And we got our guy Behad Moon in the Toyota chat saying, more importantly, what's the DNVR road schedule going to look like? Stay tuned. We wanted to get the schedule officially finalized before we put anything out. Yeah, it is pretty important. But Henry was onto something earlier today.
I was.
That's what I'll say right now.
I'll just say I like to eat a fish. Yes.
Not in the rain either, huh?
No, I like to eat dry fish.
So keep your eyes on that. We'll let you know exactly when we know so that you guys can get your tickets and join us out on the road. You guys have any final thoughts before we dive into this?
No, let's dive in.
Let's dive in. Join us on the Toyota Chat when we go win-loss for our very first 2024 season prediction. We're going to do this a couple of times after Bo Nix looks so good in training camp. We're saying like 17-0. He did look pretty good in rookie minicamp.
Yeah,
so maybe we're going 17-0.
I mean, you know what they say? If you can do it in rookie minicamp, you can do it against the Chiefs.
That's how they knew Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and John Elway were the guys.
Should have taken J.J. McCarthy, practice tape.
That's a good point. Well, he had a tough rookie minicamp.
Oh, that is true.
I actually don't know. Yeah.
No, it's Drake May, who people were saying he missed every throw. And then I was like, oh,
it's true.
He always does that. That's the
vindicated.
expectation.
Yep, I felt right about that. All right, let's do this. Week 1 at Seattle. Henry, you are really downplaying this game. The only thing you're not downplaying about this game is how cool it would be to be there and go to game time and go to True Fan Travel and be there with us potentially. That's the only thing you're not downplaying. You think Seattle's garbage. So is this a dub in your book?
I don't know if I go that far.
That's pretty much what you said earlier.
It's tough. I mean,
man,
I do.
We got a lot of dubs rolling in the Toyota chat.
Oh, good. I think that's one of the easier games on the schedule. Again, it just. What do you think of the Broncos is the big question. And it's nice now that we get to stop asking that in a vacuum, because it's more about like the matchups. Because you can sit here and say like, oh, 20th best secondary. Oh, 18th, or just do that. But that's not really how football works. So I think with the Seahawks, you got a chance to throw the ball on them. I think you got a chance to run the ball on them, especially with the type of tackle breaking running backs they have. I think that passing offense isn't what it used to be. So I could totally see him winning, but I'm not going to pick a road win for a rookie quarterback in Seattle week 1.
Jose says, I want to see Quinn Meinerz maul Draymond Jones, man.
That will happen.
It will happen. That'll be electric. So you're going loss?
I think if I'm just being totally honest, I usually come into this and say, like, are you going to be optimistic today? Or are you just going to say, like, what's going to actually happen?
Yeah.
I didn't really think about it. And so I'm starting off going by what I think will really happen. And I think that's a loss.
Okay. And
if I had to make a bet.
Honestly, you were like so down on the Seahawks. I don't know how I can pick. And I was a little more scared of this game than you were. You went loss. I guess I have to follow your footsteps there. Really, this has
6.5 point underdogs.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. That is big. Were the Broncos favored last time they played in Seattle with Russ?
I would imagine.
Was it 3 points, I think?
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to be favored in hardly any game this year.
That's a good point, unfortunately. What scares me about this one is just being in Seattle. It's not about Bo Nix. What Bo Nix actually gives me the most hope for this game is Bo Nix against Geno Smith, but Henry with an L, so we'll roll with that. Steelers at home. Russell Wilson's return. Sean Payton versus Russell Wilson. Henry, what I would say for this game typically is Sean Payton's talked a lot of shit.
He has.
A lot of shit.
He will.
Russell Wilson. And yeah, there'll probably be an expose that wasn't supposed to come out on record, but that came out on record after a couple of lattes.
Hope he tells us.
Oh, man, that would be it. Sean, you're welcome here anytime, whether it's Toyota Lounge, whether it's up here in Studio B. We can even get a poster back here right next to John. It can be John and Sean. But you're welcome here for that expose. Mm-hmm. And I would say he's talked too much shit where he can't lose this game. That's what I thought about Nathaniel Hackett last year. The Broncos then did go out and lose that game. So what scares the hell out of me is TJ Watt. It's not Russell Wilson. It's TJ Watt in this game. How do you see it unfolding, Henry?
I think they win. I think this one's a win.
Boom! Book it down is a dub.
This is like a real
as,
one.
As Kiwi Metal says in the Toyota Super Chat.
It's a Steelers game. When's the last time you saw a pretty Steelers game?
That's a great point.
Like that would have been like the 60s, because I think the 70s is when they started doing all that. I would imagine those were ugly.
Roethlisberger threw for like 500 yards a couple of times.
That is true.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with what I said. They haven't played a pretty game in 70 years.
Love it. I love
60.
The dub there. Then back-to-back road games on the East Coast. Maybe a little road trip for the Broncos. Tampa Bay, Henry, how do we see this one? I'm going dub.
I'm going with the loss. I mean, that's just...
We got a tiebreaker. You know what that means. You hear. Broncos win or loss here.
Actually, I'm going with the loss on this one.
Wow, you guys heard it. Blame those two. I went with the dub. I'm being optimistic.
they just have so much talent.
Well, actually, also the Toyota chat is saying a big fat L for the Broncos in this game. So
that's just a freaky talented
don't blame
team.
Me.
I just don't trust Broncos in Tampa.
Like when you've got
with the rookie quarterback,
Mike Evans and Tristan Wirfs and whoever the other receiver is, and all those guys on the defense, like there's just so many studs, and that's what the Broncos are lacking. So on the road with like a definite, legitimate quarterback, maybe not great quarterback, like that's you got to pick a loss. They can certainly win.
It's on his 4th team in like 7 years.
You mean the quarterback making $45 million a year? Is that what he got paid?
Yeah,
40?
The guy that was like a free agent in week 14, just like 14 months ago.
The guy who took over for Tom Brady and then won more games in his first season than Tom did in his last season.
Yeah, I'm talking about the bus, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I'm talking about the guy better than Tom Brady.
The number 1 overall pick, Baker
He was
Mayfield.
also playing defense on scout team with the Panthers.
There we go.
Which Tom Brady could never do.
Okay, so we're going lost. You can blame you here and Henry on that one. Then Jets week 4. I do think this Jets team is going to be good. Maybe not great. I think they're going to be good. This is on the road. This is a really tough game. I don't think it's Nathaniel Hackett beating the Broncos. I think it's Aaron Rodgers beating the Broncos.
I think this is a win. I think Nathaniel Hackett is horrible. I think I can't get that out of my head. Like the defense there is solid, but I'm still not even convinced that that's like a better than the Broncos defense.
I think the Avs just scored.
I think they just did. Let's go. Yeah, no, I think I'm not convinced on the Jets still.
Okay, that's very fair. You hear? Tiebreaker.
I'm going with the win.
Let's go.
I said I was not going to pick
and Henry
Hank's
are best
side.
friends.
Dude, I said I wasn't going to pick Hank's side at all, but I hate Nathaniel Hackett.
2 for 2.
The Broncos need to beat the Jets. They cannot walk out of New York with a loss.
Oh, man, to be 0-2 since Sean made those comments about Hackett and his staff, that would be absolutely brutal, which means the Broncos are coming home at 2-2. Henry, right now, if I told you the Broncos would be 2-2 after this first 4-game stretch, would you take it and run with it, or would you say, pass, I want to see what happens?
I'm generally against putting a ceiling on the good things that can happen in my life.
Okay.
Like I'd rather just give me the chance that this is just awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, just knowing you got Raiders, Chargers, Saints, Panthers coming up, like there's a real chance you go 3-1 there. You got a winning record. Like,
so you're taking it?
I think you'd have to take it if you're using your brain. If you're using your heart, then you don't.
I don't even think you take it. You absolutely take it. You run away with it because, like you said, this next stretch, some winnable games here. So, Henry, week 5, Raiders at home. Do they break the streak and kill the hump that's on this Broncos team?
No. Wow. I don't think so. I hate it, but it just... That's the kind of team that loves a streak like this. Like the Raiders are not talented. They just want it more than most teams, which means that doesn't come up often, but it does against the Broncos. With the Antonio Pierce there and Gardner Minshew just fits that perfectly. They're coming into Denver, and I think they're winning that one.
You know, when the Raiders don't get up for a game, it's week 5, first week of October. It's pretty nice weather out.
No
so
Josh
they're not
Jacobs.
Fully focused. Yeah, exactly. No Josh Jacobs. They're not fully focused on football. This is a time where they sleep on the Broncos, and the Broncos get the dub. You hear? We need a tiebreaker.
It's dubs, baby. We
It's
Jameis Winston eating dubs all the way.
Let's go. Broncos are 3-2, heading home, staying at home. Los Angeles Chargers coming into town. The first time the Broncos have played Harbaugh, who they wanted to be their head coach when they hired Sean Payton. Do they win, or does the coach that they maybe settled on beat the coach that they wanted?
Yeah, so this is one I would have gone win on, and I think I've got to stick to my guns even though we gave them the Raiders win. I kind of had them losing that one, bouncing back here. But I'm gonna stick with the win just because I think the Chargers, it's going to take them some time. I don't think that they have the running back necessarily to do the things they want to do. I'm not sure they have the offensive line. I think this is still going to be the part of the season where they're forcing like the new way instead of realizing they just don't have the guys to do that, and you kind of just have to let Justin Herbert go do his thing. So I do think that in Denver, this one's a win.
Yeah, the last time that Justin Herbert and Bo Nix played each other, you know what happened?
Yeah, that would have been his freshman year. That would have been Bo Nix's first game. Yep. Completed 40% of his passes, but got the win.
Yep, got the win. It might be ugly, but the Broncos are coming away with the dub against the Chargers.
I was at Chili's for that game.
Wow.
Yeah. Went out to Chili's to go watch that one.
Do you see their new 10 for 3 for $10.99 deal?
More of an Applebee's guy.
Oh, wow. That's tough.
Especially
There's
Dollaritos.
love in this Chili's tonight. It's my favorite quote of all time.
Okay, now short week coming off back-to-back division home games. Talk about emotion being high for those, but emotion's going to be even higher for this next game. Week 7, Broncos go in to New Orleans to play the Saints. Sean Payton's return. Does he cry before the game, Henry?
No, I don't think he's cried in a while, and I don't think he cries again until he makes it to the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Assuming things go well.
I think he gets teary-eyed at this when they play such an emotional, and it's not just going to be about winning
Daughter
the Super
already
Bowl.
got married. That would have done it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
I don't think it's just going to be winning a Super Bowl that really gets him choked up. It's going to be how Sean Payton brought the entire city of New Orleans back after Hurricane Katrina, how he was the rock that was able to guide them through those hard times. And I think it is going to be such an emotional game for Sean Payton. Do the Broncos win, Henry?
Yeah, I've got the win here.
Broncos get the dub.
Again, that's one that Sean is going to beat the Saints.
I've seen this before. And I thought that exact thing when Peyton Manning went into Indianapolis to play the Colts, and they did that exact same thing. The house that Peyton built, they made it more than just about football for Peyton when he was on that field right before the game. It got him emotional, and it got in his head, and the Broncos did not win that game.
Wow. The
more emotional side lost with Peyton. The more emotional side will lose this game. So we need a tiebreaker. You hear?
They're losing this game.
They're losing.
Wait. Here's the question. Are they losing this game because they're actually losing this game? Or are they losing this game because they're 4-2 already and we've got to give them a loss?
No, they're losing this game. I didn't even look at that. It's honestly, emotions run high. When they run high, gets in your head. When it gets in your head, you're not focused.
I think this is like a 40-point game. I think this might be the prettiest offensive game we get all year.
40 points by the Broncos.
But for the first time in a while.
Let's go. I love that. I hope you're right, but unfortunately.
And we say loss.
Yep. Home against the Panthers, an easy way to rebound. And if they win this game, Henry, you're talking about Broncos winning 4 of their past 5 games, 5 of their past 7 games. Does it happen against the worst team they play at home?
Again, I'm kind of torn. How
are you torn?
I'm excited about this Broncos team. I also understand why they have the lowest win total, like over under in all the sports books. And if there's ever a thing that teams that don't have great seasons do, it's blow a really easy game when everything seems like it's going so well. Shout out to the Patriots last year.
Yep.
So this gives me very similar vibes to that. I still go win, but I could be convinced that this is a loss.
Here's how it's a loss: is if the Broncos beat the Saints on Thursday Night Football, they've got a long 10 days before this next game. They're on a 4-game win streak. They've won 5 of the past 6 games. Then they do sleep on the Panthers, and the Panthers' Bryce Young kind of picks it up, but that's not going to happen because unfortunately they lose a week before. Sean's going to have these guys ready. Like you said, he knows the NFC South better than anyone, so the Broncos get the dub against the Panthers, get back on their winning ways, and oh my goodness, the Broncos are almost at their win total for the season, and we haven't even got to week 9. Broncos are 5-3 heading into week 9. Do they get the win and shock the world and hit their win total over by week 9, Henry? At Ravens.
I think the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl, and I think they're definitely going to win this game too.
Yeah, until Lamar wins in the playoffs, I'm not going to go as far as you, but Derrick Henry is the absolute truth. That is a very scary game. So, unfortunately, the Broncos get the loss. Let's move on to Kansas City. Week 10, do the Broncos get a 2-game win streak going against the Kansas City Chiefs?
No, they don't.
Man, a lot of L's floating in the Twitter chat. I don't think they're coming for us. I think they're coming for the Broncos in this 2-game stretch.
Maybe they're just saying the number 50 in Roman numerals.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I unfortunately think, Henry, that the Chiefs will not be sleeping on this game. They will be seeing home game against the Broncos, who they lost to last time. You know what happened the very last time the Chiefs were on the field against the Broncos?
The Broncos won?
Yeah. No more detail? Like, that's all.
I feel like that was the big story.
Yeah, that was a big story. But even later, there was something that happened even more recently since that.
John Elway giving the trophy to Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, no, I wasn't thinking that. Jesus, why'd you have to go so dark on me?
You're thinking about Sean Payton being mad that they won that game?
No, because I wasn't on the field.
Okay.
The last thing that happened when the Broncos and Chiefs were on the same field together.
Taylor Swift?
Ding, 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 ding.
What did she do?
The Broncos are playing Shake It Off.
Oh, that's
after
right.
They beat the Chiefs, man. The ultimate troll. Shout out to the DJ.
That's right.
That was incredible.
That was awesome.
The Broncos did it right by beating the Chiefs for the first time in like a long time. They played it right. So the Chiefs are gonna remember that and get the win. Then the Broncos come back to home. So now they're feeling a little desperation here because now they've only won one of their past 3 games. What's their record now? They're 5-4 against the Atlanta Falcons.
5-5.
They're 5-4. Learn how to count those L's, baby. Because you take a lot of them, so you should learn how to count them.
I think I did. I think I did count.
You did not count those correctly.
I see 5 L's.
You hear?
Only 4?
There's only 4. What are you talking about?
You're just messing with me. I know you're just messing with me.
Get the hell out of here.
Oh, no, there's 5, actually. He's right.
Wait, you
Oh
weren't
my
just
God.
messing with me? I was like...
I wasn't messing with you
That
either.
was-
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
What the hell?
You counted. You counted those right. Wow,
Yeah.
that was like a weird thing. Oh
Wow.
my goodness. Okay, Broncos are 5-5. Would you take this if I said the Broncos are 5-5 heading into Week 11?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, again, Vegas says they're winning 5.5 games.
100%. I'm taking this and running away with it because exactly what you said. The Broncos halfway through the season are 1 game away from their over on the over-under. Yeah, give me that. Plus, they've had a 3-game win streak. They've gone 4 of 5 in a stretch. Yes, absolutely. What happens here? Do they fall to a losing record and really start a bad skid? Or is this when a win comes and breaks that 2-game losing streak?
I mean, the Falcons are one of the toughest. So I've been really high on the Falcons the last couple years, and they haven't quite done it. I've also been really low on Kirk Cousins for the past couple of years. And so this one just like messes with my brain. Are they going to be
it's a
good or
tough
not?
one.
Then you got to think like, it almost feels like a team that's just going to be good right away. Like Kirk Cousins just going to show up, and all of a sudden he's just going to throw for like 350. But then like cracks form throughout the course of the season. So I don't even know like what the arc is or whether they're good. I'm gonna call this a loss because I think that you just look on paper and compare the 2 teams. I think that you would have to say loss, but at home, this is another tough one.
So you're saying loss?
Yeah.
I'm saying loss as well. I do think
So that's an L.
I think the Falcons. I think the Falcons are going to be good. Unfortunately, maybe not Super Bowl good, but
I mean, probably not.
yeah, no, they got Kirk Cousins.
I would be
They're not gonna
surprised
Super
if
Bowl
it
good.
goes-
But Kirk Cousins
Yeah.
is really freaking good in the regular season.
It just looks like Russell Wilson 2.0 to me. The way everything's heading down that way, what's going on.
Oh man, that would be wild.
How good would Case Keenum have been with Justin Jefferson is my question. Not as good as Kirk was.
No,
But how close?
But the Falcons have some good weapons too, though.
Yeah, they had
But, like-
Stephon Diggs is kind of not similar, but like
Justin Jefferson has like 15 more yards per game than any receiver in NFL history.
Yeah, it's good.
Like, you were
the one that said out for this game,
I mean,
boss.
yeah, definitely. But like, I like Drake London. It's not Justin Jefferson.
It's very fair.
I was at that CU game. Yikes.
Raiders on the road.
Yeah, I mean, I have this one as a win. I have the other one as a loss, and this one as a win. I'm just gonna stick to my guns and say I think in Vegas they win.
You had oh man.
I had the first one as a loss, but I'm not gonna flip it because of that.
I'm probably going split against the Raiders, and that's probably a win for this season since they haven't done that in like 5 years.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you hear?
it's a win, man.
It's a
Let's
win!
go!
Let's go. The streak is broken. Broncos back up to 500. You hear? Do we have to be out of here in 1 minute? We're good. Okay. We got the all clear from you here. Okay, now this is huge. 6-6 going into the final month and just over a month of the season here. Tell me in the Toyota Super Chat if you think the Broncos beat the Browns on Monday Night Football. For some reason, the Broncos and Browns get a lot of primetime games with each other. And
The history.
Oh, that's so stupid.
But I mean, it's the
40 years ago?
I mean, the same
30
reason
years
the
ago?
49ers and Cowboys always will, you know?
I think those are just like big market teams. I don't think of the history when I see those teams.
I think it's the history. I think it's a different history because those two are kind of going back and forth, whereas the Broncos won like 24 in a row, but they won was it back-to-back AFC championship games? The drive and all, there was just, I think that's why. And you just have like the Browns' hatred of the Broncos for that reason, which I think is a driving force.
No dog
just
pound
blue
here.
blood
It's a
teams.
Mile High City, baby.
So true.
What happens?
Realistic, you got to go 4-1 down this stretch here. That gets you to 10-7, which is probably the number.
Yep. By the way, Broncos have hit their over by week 12.
Yeah, that's good news.
Yep.
We did this last year. The exact same thing happened.
We don't need to talk about last year.
You know what? I think this one's a win.
This one's a win.
Yep. I think so.
I'm going win as well. I think the last primetime game the Broncos had in week 7, it was just too emotional in that game. But this one, there's no emotions. Broncos come out on fire in front of their home crowd. Monday Night Football just before the bye. So we've got a streaky Broncos team here. We've got 3-game win streak, 3-game losing streak. Now we've got a 3-game win streak again. Heading into the bye week, that's going to make us count dubs.
I know. How many times are you going to count that W and get the numbers all weird?
Bye week, Broncos definitely win on that one as they head off to Cancun for a nice little break in December. Then they come home to the Colts.
3 out of 4 AFC Championship game wins over the Browns. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that is.
Colts have a loss. That's again, like they just have such a clean defense. They have the weapons. And Anthony Richardson, I thought was sick as a prospect, played like 3 games and was awesome. And I have them winning this one.
Give me, it's 2 young quarterbacks. One of them's on the road. Give me the home team, especially Mile High is going to be rocking like we haven't seen in nearly a decade because this is a game that matters in December. Give me a dub for the Broncos.
Very reminiscent of the Patriots game, for example.
Don't need to think about last year, Henry.
Okay.
Sean has his quarterback now. So you hear we've got a tie.
It's a loss, man.
You said all dubs like 35 seconds ago.
Against AFC West. We're giving them too many wins, too, and that's playing into it. Like, I also got to be a little realistic.
An L there. Now the Broncos go on the road to play the Chargers. Henry, here's how I see this one playing out. I think at this point, Harbaugh's figured out what he wants from this team. And the Broncos beat him in week 6. Even though it's going to be a Broncos home game just before Christmas. Christmas has been really bad to the Broncos recently. Embarrassing. Thank goodness this one is not on Christmas. But I'm going L here. But they do split against the Chargers, in my opinion.
Yeah, I go win here. I know we usually go with the split, but I think the Chargers are... they're the Chargers. You get to play them in December. It's a gift.
I love it. What a great Christmas Eve gift that would be. Unless
Christmas Eve,
you hear,
yes.
you're the tiebreaker.
It's a win, man.
It's a win.
Honestly, screw Harbaugh so much.
Screw Harbaugh. Love it. Absolutely love it. So with 2 games left, the Broncos have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins. Henry, you said 10 get you to the playoffs. That means they've got to win 2 games easy. Or not, because they go into Cincinnati week 17. You think this is an easy game, though? Because what'd you call it? A pretty boy offense? Yeah. Cincinnati's...
I think they win this one. I think this is where the whole, Burrow actually might not be that good. He just had the weapons. I think this is where that all begins.
He still has the weapons, though.
He does. And I just don't... the Bengals... He was 5-5. That was such a bad team. And I get, they were only bad for a bit, and then they did get better. But also, I saw what I saw, and they were just not that good.
Yeah, I don't know what you've been watching, unfortunately.
I watched the games.
The Bengals have the dude at quarterback.
He's not the dude.
And they also have a team that just gets better as the season goes on. So this isn't an L for me, but it's not a bad L. This is a playoff team.
It's an L all the way. Joe Burrow's him, dude.
He's not good. I shouldn't say he's not good because then somebody clips it. But
clip it.
If Joe Burrow's an all-star, I will be surprised.
This is the guy
all pro.
You weren't sure whether to pick the Broncos to beat the Panthers at home. Yet you're saying Broncos, easy, go into Cincinnati, beat them.
Yeah, you just have to think about like who is the story in each game.
It too.
I think the Panthers, the story in that game is, the Broncos are actually onto something, and they're again just knowing what we know, they probably aren't that good. They fall apart. I still pick the win. But like the Bengals game, the story there is like it's Burrow in December, and he's not going to get the job done.
So then what happens here? Week 18, the Broncos might not be fighting for a playoff spot, but they still could be.
They could have one locked up for all we know.
They could get to 9-8 and make the playoffs. But Henry, what's on the line here is their first winning record since 2016 when our colleague Todd Davis was on the team. Do the Broncos beat the Kansas City Chiefs and not only split with them in the season, but they're 2-1 against the Chiefs in the past 3 games. That's a little trend forming.
No, they lose.
I'm going to say they win because big reason. I think the Chiefs have whatever they need locked up. I think they've got it locked up. And the Broncos play Blaine Gabbert, I believe, is the Chiefs' backup quarterback. Bo Nix, way better than Blaine Gabbert. Broncos not only finished the season with the dub, which might get them into the playoffs, but they finished with a winning record. They finished with a win against the Chiefs. They're 2-1 against the Chiefs. They've got a winning record in the AFC, and momentum is rolling into 2025.
That'd be fun.
Broncos are 9-8 here, Henry.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what I did differently. Because I thought I had my 8-9, but maybe I did something different.
Would you sign up for 9-8 right now?
The nice thing is this isn't a real scenario.
Who knows? We could be writing the script right now.
That could, like, maybe that's how the script works.
Put your bets in right now.
Yeah.
Like the NFL,
this parlay.
The NFL just goes to the Penners and is like, "Hey, we got you down for 9-8. Is that going to do it, or are you going to throw a fit?" And they're like, "Okay, we can take 9-8." But no, I mean, I think you probably have to, but at the same time, like, it's not a good season. Like, it's a good season compared to what the Broncos have done, but like 9-8 is not a good year. Like, the standards are just higher than that. Like, that's in the grand history of the Denver Broncos, not a good year.
Yeah, no, I totally disagree. 9-8 would be an amazing season for the Broncos.
Yeah.
I could understand if you would have taken the micro perspective and said, like, you're not making the playoffs, I can't sign up for anything like that.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay,
that's basically what I'm saying.
But this is a team that is set for 5.5 wins right now.
Yeah.
You almost double that. So for big picture, this is huge. And that's why I think big picture outweighs the micro picture in this one. And you do take it. Think about all the hype that the Broncos would have rolling into next season if they go 9-8 this year.
I mean,
with a rookie quarterback.
They were 8-9 last year.
Yep, but that was with Russ. They got rid of Justin Simmons.
Yeah.
They're strapped with Russell's contract right now. Some other contracts. They had to let people go because of that. So I would take it. Let us know if you would take 9-8 for the Broncos. Hit us with a thumbs up.
Oh, the bar has lowered.
Toyota Super Chat. Wait, what?
No, never mind. He said 9-8 would not make him cream his pants.
Oh,
no. So the bar might actually be 11. I didn't see anybody say 10 is enough. Oh, no, somebody did say 10 is enough. Somebody said 10 is enough.
Rio is saying that this is so sad. I think this has been an unbelievably optimistic view of the Broncos season.
But last year we picked them to go 12-4.
We don't need to talk about last year.
Not on that show.
You were definitely on that show.
That was incredible. I was not on that. I was in the background. That's why it happened.
Wow, there you go. Jose letting us know what that special ending gets us to. And speaking of special endings, let's hop into the super chats. We've got Kuma Bear chiming in with the super chat who says, "Thanks for the show, guys. Also, we love you, Zach." Oh, I love you too, Kuma Bear. What a cute dog you have. That is just adorable. I imagine that
isn't his dog?
I bet that's Kuma Bear right there.
Whoa.
Yeah,
the dog that can type.
And then a massive super chat. $50. You want to read this one, Henry? Because it's for you.
From John Kravitz. He says, "Henry, men's Colorado Rockies New Era White Evergreen Chrome 5950 fitted hat."
And he's giving you the money for it.
Yeah, me and YouTube are gonna split that hat.
Damn, that is awesome.
Thank you, John.
So what does he not like about your hat, but he wants you to get in a
the
new hat?
The purple conflicts with this. Again, I'm not Mr. Style guy here, but I trust John.
Evergreen chrome. Help me picture. I cannot. I'm picturing a hat that looks just like your hat, Henry.
So let's see. Chrome is more silver than my beige.
Yep.
Evergreen is more green.
But why green?
Because they have like the City Connect. They kind of added another color.
You're right.
Then white.
White's
an easy one. We all know white. Yeah. We do all know white. But you missed it yesterday when Todd was saying he turned on the Avs game. And he was like, yeah, it was just white everywhere.
Wow.
That was a good time. That was a good time.
But isn't the green really going to conflict with your
if John
jersey too?
John seems to know his stuff.
John's already paid for a new hat. We appreciate you, John. Yahir's got it. He's going to pull it up for us as we get out of here today. Yahir, hit us with this hat in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, it didn't work.
Oh, it didn't work. Oh, my goodness. So we can't get it? No hat.
Well, people just have to see it on my head.
Yeah, it's true. With that $50 super chat. Thank you, John. Thank you, Kuma Bear. Thank you to everyone that hit us with a thumbs up. If you haven't, hit us with a thumbs up on the way out. We really appreciate you guys rocking and rolling with us on a special podcast today. Speaking of special podcasts, we have a special podcast back-to-back tonight and then tomorrow, 9 a.m. special podcast with Utah's head coach is going to be joining us to talk about not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but the 6 Utah Utes that are on the Broncos team, specifically
that's pretty crazy.
The 2 that the Broncos drafted this year, and Jonah Ellis and Devon Vele. We've got Utah coach Kyle Whittingham joining us to give us the inside on these guys, the 2 new guys, but he's been there for all 6 of the Broncos that went to Utah. He's been there 20 years as a head coach. He's been there, I think, 35 years at Utah. So he knows these players inside and out, and I'm really excited to get the inside scoop. Stop that. I'm excited to get the inside scoop on him. So he's joining us tomorrow at 9:15. Our show's starting at 9 a.m. Make sure to tune in on YouTube. We love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great night.
We all silly like the mayor.